5-minute penalty to Chicago, a game misconduct, and then Manson having words with Steven. And now Butcher gets into it. We're going to have a brawl, folks. Stand by.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Tyler Cash here, chatting with my boy Tommy, coming at you with another episode of Fourth Line Goon. How you doing, bud?
Good. It's fucking hockey season. Cheers
to that. Yeah,
I got water. You got beer. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm going to the game tonight, the home opener between the Seattle Kraken and the Vegas Golden Knights. So, yeah, I decided to have a beer after work before I head down to T-Mobile Arena there on the Strip. Are you going to be catching these games? What are you watching tonight? I guess we got Penguins. Who are they matched up with again?
Penguins Lightning going on right now.
Shit.
Yeah, puck drop was like 10 minutes ago, I think. 0-0. You haven't missed anything crazy, so that's good. Obviously, you have the Kraken and the Golden Knights expansion teams. I don't know why I can't think
Battle of the
them,
Expansions. This is a game a lot of us have been looking forward to. It's very exciting. I'm reserving my opinion. I am not going to give a prediction to tonight's game because I don't want to look like a jackass. Everybody looks stupid when they predicted the Golden Knights season. I want to be confident, like I want to be stoked, which I am, but yeah, I'm reserving my opinion when it comes to it. I'm not going to give my prediction. But as far as that Pens game goes, I know they're out Malkin and Crosby right now. So I saw Jeff Carter as their top line center. It's kind of hard to see them pulling it out.
I mean, it's first game of the season. Anything can happen. I mean, there's going to be a lot of feeling out process, I feel like. But at the same time, you're going to have to focus on, probably stopping the Lightning, keeping it a close game if you're the Penguins to make something happen. But, 7 minutes in, 0-0. Penguins have actually kind of controlled the pace so far. So, obviously, it's early, but we'll see.
Cool. I got to catch a few preseason games for the Golden Knights here out here in the desert. You got to catch a few in St. Louis, correct? For the Blues.
Yeah, sporting my James Neal hat trick jersey. Went to the first Blues preseason game. I was like, James Neal, PTO. He's getting a contract. I can feel it. As soon as I saw him wear 81 pre-skate, ran to the team store, said I need an 81 James Neal jersey. They're like, okay. And then what does he do? Hat trick.
Hattie.
Legendary stuff. So
you had to have been the first.
I'm assuming I'm the first fan-made James Neal Blues jersey in existence, which is kind of cool. But that was cool. And then the Sam Anas game-winning overtime goal against who did we play? The Stars, I think. So that was kind of cool. But caught a couple preseason games back out west right now. And then the Blues obviously have the tease of watching all the teams play for like 5 days, and then they don't start till Saturday against the Avs. But quickly after that, we'll be together in Vegas, I know, on the 20th for Blues Nights, and that'll always be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure it's going to be a high-scoring, overtime deciding game, as it always is.
So I've decided on this one because, as you know, the one time the Blues Nights in Vegas that I haven't gone to, I was out of the country, the Blues won. Every other time they've lost in T-Mobile, either in overtime or regulation. So I've already told myself, whatever I'm spending on a ticket, I'm betting to win that. I'm betting for the Knights to win that money evenly. So I either go to the game for free and I live with it, or I pay double and I finally see the Blues win in Vegas. But it's also going to be funny wearing the James Neal jersey. I'm going to get some weird looks.
Yeah, Golden Knights legend, James Neal. Ever since he left the Golden Knights, I always thought it would be a perfect fit in St. Louis. Like I really did. And obviously he had that PTO after being bought out of his contract, which was stupid. He's not worth that much money, but I think he's going to prove himself. I mean, he did really well. He signed a 1-year deal, $750K with the Blues. I mean, it's a steal. But of course, in order to make room for that, you had to ship out a few people, right? It was Zach Sanford was a casualty of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think James Neal was the casualty, but it was more for the Robert Thomas re-signing. But then obviously still needing some room to make stuff happen there. It just made sense to send him out. And then Connor Brown, who the Blues got back in return, obviously he's starting in the AHL. So his cap hit's non-existent really at the moment. So it worked out, I think. Right? I mean, obviously Neal, basically scored 20 goals 2 years ago, prior to the lockout season, during that lockout season, not lockout, but COVID season, I should say. And then he obviously said last year COVID got him and he just never recovered, was never the same. And he looked good in preseason, led the Blues in goals, 4 goals for what it's worth, to over 2, only scored in 2 games. But at the same time, I mean, he's looking good out there. I think it's exactly what the Blues need. And it'll be exciting to see him wearing the blue note. That's for sure.
Hey, what's up, everyone? We're interrupting the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast to talk about one of our awesome sponsors. Big Balls Kickball is St. Louis's premier adult kickball league, bringing you the best game in town since 2007. Veteran owned and operated, they strive to bring out the kid in everyone, and they let you let loose and make new friends on that field. Big Balls welcomes players from all walks of life, and they pride themselves on being one of the most inclusive leagues out there. If that's not enough, they also offer Big Balls apparel. That's right, they sell clothing, all that stuff, and it's rad. Me and Tommy have some. We've been rocking them. They go back with the retro designs, back to the 90s, back to your childhood, all of that. So be sure to go and check out Big Balls Kickball at www.stlbigballs.com.
So you mentioned Robert Thomas, and we don't have it in our notes, but I feel like we should talk about it. He signed a bridge deal, correct? Was it just 2 years?
I believe that was the case, yeah. So,
are you surprised that they didn't try to lock him down for longer? I mean, you're seeing a lot of these younger guys signing these massive contracts for 7-8 years. I mean, it's kind of weird to see a bridge deal for somebody so young.
Well, I don't think the Blues could. They don't really have the space to do it. And I mean, he put up 30 points his rookie year, 33 his rookie year, 42 his second year, and then he was hurt last year as well. So I mean, he's never really been a huge performer, I guess, if you will, in the playoffs. Even go back to the cup run again, a rookie, 21 games, 6 points, limited playing time on that third line, fourth line with Pat Maroon and whatnot. But guys stay healthy, and that was kind of a prove it deal. And I think it helps the Blues in the short term with them being up against the cap. And then you still have the Tarasenko situation if he's still going to be around, and others to sign here down the line. Obviously, the Parayko extension just happened too recently. So there's a lot to factor in there. So I think it's more Doug Armstrong likes to do is kind of that prove it bridge deal. You do well, we'll take care of you if we can type of a thing. So it's not too surprising.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be due up for a big payday if he actually winds up performing to what everyone's expectations were. I think it's a great deal for the team. As you said, it's a prove it contract, and if he does well, I mean, you got a good core as far as St. Louis goes. It's actually exciting, looking at, you got Brandon Saad, you got James Neal, obviously Buchnevich, yeah, and then Tarasenko actually sticking around, and he's smiling and he's saying he's healthy. And I mean, whether or not he's going to be on the team at deadline or next year is to be seen. But I mean, if he performs even half as well as he normally does, I mean, it sounds like it's a strong core. It's an exciting time to be a Blues fan. And the only question mark is going to be the goaltending. Again, obviously, is you're going to be seeing Binnington in there for at least, I'd say, 55 plus games, if not more than that. Wow. And is he the real deal? We have yet to see. They won the cup, but then after that, the whole world kind of went up in flames, and there really hasn't been a full normal season to actually see how he'll perform under pressure and in front of crowds. Yeah. But yeah, so we were talking about that bridge deal contract for such a young guy. The Canadians went a different route with Nick Suzuki signing an 8-year, $63 million contract extension that goes through 2030. He was formerly with
are we getting?
Yeah, holy shit. Formerly with the Vegas Golden Knights, he was their draft pick. I think their first year, he was like 16th overall.
13th, yeah.
13th, okay. So I know that he was part of the deal that got them, I believe, Thomas Tatar, or was it Pacioretty?
I see. I thought it was Pacioretty.
Pacioretty, it makes sense. Yeah. So because Tatar was acquired. Oh, he was sent. Tatar was sent to the Canadians as well. So I think he was a part of that deal. So it was Tatar, Suzuki. And I know they held on to him instead of Cody Glass, which wound up being a mistake. He's now playing in Nashville. But yeah, what do you think about this giant contract? To me, it just seems like overpayment for somebody that had such a small sample size.
I mean, yeah, that's at first look, that's what you're thinking, right? I mean, what is it, 6.5 or what, 7.5 mil, almost 8 mil, I guess, over 8 years. But I mean, last year he puts up 40 points in 56 games regular season. Obviously had a hell of a playoffs too, right? He put up 16 points in 22 games on the Canadians, who obviously had that, storybook run to the finals there. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's you're paying for what you're expecting to get out of him. I mean, the beauty of it is he's 22. You're expecting him to build, probably expecting a 60, 70 point season out of him, and a guy who plays a solid two-way game. And I mean, at $7.5 million, that'll be a pretty damn good deal. Additionally, like I said, he's 22. So from the whole length of the contract, you could expect you're expecting him to get better and stay consistent. So that's kind of the unique part of this, because he's going to be a free agent when he's 30. He's still going to have, assuming he doesn't get, have any terrible injuries or he doesn't fall off, he's still going to have another 5, 6, 7, hell, 8 years of hockey left in him after this deal. So I think it's no brainer for him. I mean, guaranteed money. He probably, somebody say he puts up 70, 80, 90 points, hell, these next couple of years, and then you try to make this deal happen. For the Canadians, you probably saved yourself, 2-3 million a year. But again, they're right. The flip side, unproven, from a regular season standpoint, he's barely played in a season and a half full of games. And yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. But I mean, I think it's a gamble to say the least, but I think it's a smart gamble because it's probably something you could maybe get out of if you wanted to down the line, assuming he flashes some potential or something like that. It won't be as unique as I have a, old Duncan Keith with 2 years left on my deal at, 8 million or whatever, versus this guy's 28. He had some injury seasons. He put up 50 points last year. Yeah, he's a $7.5 million cap hit, but he's still in his prime. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's my thought on it.
I think the biggest issue there, you mentioned that he could potentially play until he's like well into his 30s, but he's a small guy. And I think that might've been a concern before when deciding whether to keep him or Cody Glass, even though Cody Glass is kind of a smaller dude as well. But
yeah,
Nick Suzuki's only 5'11", 205, around that ballpark. And yeah, I think that might be a concern. I mean, he's a fast dude. We're seeing that these younger fast guys can find their way in the game for sure. But yeah, it's a big question mark. He could be a flash in the pan. It could be, it's wild to me that it was full term. I guess that's my thing. I think that what the Blues did with Robert Thomas, now granted, Thomas is not near the skill level of Suzuki, but I think how they handled it is just a little safer. And with the cap hit not really going up anytime soon, at least drastically, it seems really scary to kind of put all your eggs in that basket, especially when Carey Price is kind of a question mark, which we can leeway into that. Carey Price decided to walk away from the team due to we could assume struggling with depression, some sort of issue when it comes to that. I know he's working with the Players Association. You hate to see that, and with goalies, they're head cases. I mean, I even hate that term because it sounds like I'm belittling him or judging him, but a lot of pressure, and you could see it on him during that run last year that he was dealing with a lot of demons. I think what was that, Shea Weber? That it was him. They were in that interview together, and he's like, "Yeah, I wish I would have done better." Yeah. And Shea stopped him and was like, "No, man, we should have done better in front of you." It's hard not to guess that that's where the issue started, and it's kind of trickled over,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speculate on it either, but I mean, could be something he's dealing with for a while and just finally got to a breaking point. Who knows? I mean, obviously that press conference is one of those rare kind of telling moments where you kind of see that a little bit. But again, yeah, let's not speculate. I mean, obviously, you hope that, I'm sure if you're a Canadians fan or a hockey fan, you hope, 30 days or whatever is good enough for him to feel a bit better. You don't obviously want to put a timetable on it. You take the time that he obviously needs to get better, whether that's 2 months, 3 months, a whole season, who knows? But the flip side of it is, yeah, I mean, now you also have, look at the actual game aspect. Now you're thrust into Jake Allen being your starter, Blues legend, of course. But yeah, I mean, he played, relatively decent, playing 29 games last year, 2.68 goals against, 90.7 save percentage, nothing crazy. But I mean, I from what I remember, Jake Allen is, I think every Blues fan, yourself included, is, he can go a 15, 20 game stretch and be like, this guy's great. And then all of a sudden he's averaging 5 goals against and getting pulled and whatnot. So, I mean, if the Canadians get that good Jake Allen short term, I think they'll still be okay. Obviously, the losing Kotkaniemi, however the fuck you say his name, to the Canadians, so not the Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes,
on the offer sheet doesn't help them, but I don't think. I mean, I still think they're a fringe team. I think if Jake Allen can help them get off to a decent start, they'll still be okay. Probably can still sneak in, I think, personally.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty much divided last year, 11 wins, 12 losses. Yeah. So a 50-50 goalie, which, I mean, that's all you need when it comes to a backup. I think the rule of thumb is that you want your backup to win at least 30% of their starts, and you can be a playoff contending team. So yeah, as a backup, Jake Allen's solid. As a starter, when he's got the comfort, not so much. It very painful to watch as a Blues fan for many years. But yeah, I hope Carey Price gets back soon. Bounces back really well. No one likes to see that. It's just very strenuous mentally, especially after these couple of years, even as just a human being, as just a father, a dad, like a husband, like a friend. It's like these past couple of years have been so crazy. And then they were in the bubble. Then they had that like deep run, and it was like almost like a tease. It's like, oh, these Canadians might actually pull it off. Tampa spanks them, and the rest is history.
All right, I got to interrupt the podcast to talk about another one of our amazing sponsors. That's right, Black Heart Inc. is not only a tattoo brand, but a culture in itself. Established since 2021, right here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Black Heart provides the highest in quality and luxury in custom body art. Black Heart Inc. is a tattoo shop like no other around the Las Vegas area. And ever since I moved here, I've been searching around. So trust me, there's some quality work going out of this shop, providing acceptance of all walks of life through the art, the communication of the image that displays or conveys a statement. It can be very powerful. Through art and tattoos, Black Heart Inc. will continue to defy the status quo, not just now, but for years to come. Make sure you check them out at www.blackheartinc702.com. If you mention the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast, you can get $60 Halloween flash tattoos. That's right, $60 gets you a creepy new tattoo this October. They can do same-day appointments, local and group discounts. They make sure they honor the military. And if you go in and you mention the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast and that you're a VGK fan, they will do a $100 flash tattoo of a Vegas Golden Knights logo. That's right, a $100 flash tattoo of a Vegas Golden Knights logo. I got one myself on my arm. So make sure you guys check it out, www.blackheartinc702.com.
But let's talk a little bit about another monstrous deal to a young, sort of unproven player. Maybe not as young as Suzuki or Thomas. I don't know how old is Robert Thomas. I actually have no idea. He's like 23, 24, right?
He's young. I think he's 22, 23.
Oh, okay.
Maybe?
Yeah. Wasn't he the one at the parade that wasn't of age?
22, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair,
he was like 20 at the time. Yeah.
So, yeah, let's talk about Kirill Kaprizov. I think he's 26, something in that ballpark. He
24.
signed a deal. 24, okay. Signed a deal with the Minnesota Wild, 5-year contract, which to me, the term sounds about right. That's kind of what I would have thought with Nick Suzuki. monstrous deal though. 45 million to 9 million AAV. The guy's hardly played in the NHL. What are your thoughts here? I mean, they had to sign him, right? I mean, the fans were calling for it hard.
Yeah, I mean, a 24-year-old rookie, who has 5 career seasons under his belt in the KHL, far more developed than probably most 24-year-olds coming into the NHL, to say the least. But I mean, yeah, 51 points in 55 games, 27 goals, 24 assists his rookie year. I mean, it's a situation too where you got to kind of wow him. And again, I don't think it was ever going to happen, right? Him going to the KHL, that rumor threat always came up, but let's give him what he wants. Let's make it work deal, 4 or 5 year deal. They have the cap space now and probably will for the next few years with their team, quite honestly. Let's get him here, because last thing you want to do is send him to a 2-year deal and then potentially go through the same drama in 2 years. And maybe he does bolt for the KHL at that point. Who knows, right? But it's something where I think they had to do it. I mean, I don't think his production is going to drop off. I think he's easily a point per game player. And assuming he stays at that mark for 9 million AAV, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair deal overall. And then still leaves him up for a pretty big payday when he turns 29 in 5 years. So
yeah, if he keeps it up, for sure. My favorite part about that whole scenario was they interviewed him again after the fact, and they said, "Hey, were you ever actually considering going to the KHL?" And he was like, "Hell no, no, not at all. Like I was hanging out with my friends. I went to a wedding. Like I didn't want to do this." It's like, yeah, dude, he definitely played games because he's our stud. I mean, he's our future. I mean, even 3 seasons ago, the Minnesota Wild were like dinosaurs, and they were the most boring team. Like it was so hard for those fans to have anything to be excited about. Now you got Kaprisov. He wins Rookie of the Year, even though that's questionable because he's not technically. I mean, I guess technically
he's a rookie by NHL standards, but your prototypical rookie, not so much.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, dude's a stud. I mean, there's no reason to think that he won't put up points again. I always refer, when you are a stud on a shitty team, you got to put the puck in the net. Like it's just, somebody has to be that guy.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we talked about that. Big contracts being signed. One more that we should actually talk about. Mika Zibanejad agreed to an 8-year, again, full term, $68 million contract. I don't know the stats offhand. I'm sure you do. But he had kind of an off year last year, I feel like. He wasn't putting the puck in the net like he did 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago, dude was like unreal. I think he had a career year. It was like 40 plus goals.
Yeah, and it was in a shortened season too. 41 goals in 57 games. Oof. I mean, I don't want to say to call it an off year for him. I mean, that shortened season, he had a career year, no doubt. 75 points in 57 games playing for the Rangers. Pretty damn good at the time, to say the least. I mean, even last year, I think for what I remember, he just started off slow, but came on really hot at the end. I mean, 56 games, 50 points, 24 goals, 26 assists, almost a point per game player as well. And kind of a guy that's kind of become, almost the face of the franchise. I feel like they're in New York with Lundqvist obviously retiring and whatnot and moving on. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a terrible deal for them, just a little bit over $8 million for 8 years. Granted, he'll be in his mid to late 30s. I think it'll be a deal where you probably get good value those first 4 or 5 years. Then you're hoping the cap goes up and you can kind of swallow that term and that AAV for the next 2 or 3 years after that. But I think it's a solid signing. I don't think he's going to go anywhere anytime soon in terms of production. I think he has a good solid 3, 4, even 5 years left in him before they really start questioning that deal over there. But yeah, I mean, good for him. I mean, if anything, speaking of the Rangers, another on the topic too is, how do you not name a captain? Like, I'm sick of this shit. Like,
and Gerard Gallant is involved again too, which is wild, because obviously the Golden Knights never named a captain while he was head coach. Right. So now here he is in New York, and they name six alternate captains.
Yeah, so it'll probably be like 3 at home, 3 away. They'll switch Panarin, Kreider, Zibanejad, Jacob Trouba, Barclay Goodrow, which I thought was interesting because he just kind of joined the team and I never really heard much of his leadership. But then Ryan Strome as well. But
Strome is interesting though. Strome is really, because he was on the trade block. Like they were talking about getting rid of Strome so they can make room for Eichel, and then clearly they signed Zibanejad, and that changed up all the plans. But Strome is on his last year of his contract, and literally just a month ago there were so many rumors about him being moved. So it's crazy to me that he would be considered a leader in that locker room.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a thing too, where it's kind of like veteran leadership, and given a little bit. Granted, he's 28. He's spent the last few years there in the Rangers, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's an assistant captain, so right, it's not the end all be all of anything. But I mean, yeah, look at a perfect example is the Kraken. They named Mark Giordano, who they got from the Flames, who was their ex-captain. He's now their captain. He only has 1 year on his deal. I think it's silly to let term dictate who the hell is your captain personally, let alone not naming a captain as well, especially for a franchise and a team that's well established as the Rangers. Really strange to me. Not my decision at the end of the day. Do I think it's a dumb one? A little bit, but I mean, maybe that's why Gallant bounces around a little bit. Some of these odd ideas, these teams don't perform where they should or they need to. But again, why you don't name a captain? How you don't name Zibanejad your captain, signing him for 8 more years or something like that?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, lots of options there, and maybe they'll change that up through the year. Rangers are a fun team to watch. I had them as a sleeper pick last year in the bubble, or was that 2 seasons ago now?
Yeah.
If they can figure out their goaltending situation is the main thing, because Adam Fox out of nowhere, stud, just shows up, and is that the Norris? Is that what the defenseman thing? It's like, yeah, it's just crazy. Great team. Zibanejad is so fun to watch, man. He just genuinely seems like a dude that I'd want to have a beer with. Like, he's got a smile on his face all the time. I think there were multiple occasions where he put up 4 goals in a game. Like, or I know of at least one, like 4 or 5. There was like one that was crazy. They got the power up front. They got strong defense. They just got to figure out the leadership situation and figure out their goaltending, I guess, overall. But they could be a team to watch.
Agreed.
So that'll lead me into basically our main topic, and we'll wrap up this episode. It's real short. Obviously, I'm getting ready to head down to the stadium. And we just posted our first interview with Cam Jansen. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Super fun. We interviewed a handful of people. We're going to be dropping new interviews every week. Hopefully we're going to have 2 episodes a week. But out of all those episodes, I think Cam was like the most animated. It was definitely very fun to talk to him
for many reasons.
For many reasons. But yeah, so let's talk about it. Who do you think? I think I did the same thing last year. Who do you think the sleeper hit is going to be? And who do you think is going to be the disappointment? And then I want to separately talk a little bit about the Kraken, because we didn't get to have an episode talking about their draft, which was like a little to be desired, I guess. So I'll go ahead and start. So I hate to say it. I really, really hate to say it, but I think that the Blackhawks, they're a playoff team. And I really think that the moves they made, and not even just Fleury, they have young talent. They still have Kane. Obviously, they were a team that was always missing something, especially goaltending. Crawford was never amazing. Then they had Subban backing them up, which is crazy because I think they put Subban and Delia on waivers just the other day. So it's Lankinen and Fleury, and I think Fleury is still playing great. So I mean, yeah, I mean, are they good enough to win a cup? Probably not, but I mean, they're definitely a playoff team in my opinion, as far as that goes. So that would be my pick. And yeah, I'm still on the Rangers bandwagon. I really think that they could at least make their way into the playoffs, and then from there we'd have to, I guess, kind of go. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, so my take on the Blackhawks is they're only a playoff team because of how weak the Pacific is. So what I think happens is they probably take the second wild card. So the Central probably ends up with 5 playoff teams, the Pacific with 3 is my personal guess. But I mean, I get that aspect because the way I see it is you're going to have the Avalanche going, Blues probably 2. I say on top of that, Minnesota and Dallas, but then you also have Winnipeg to fight out too. So I mean, it's going to be tight. I mean, the Central is always kind of a shit show. It's going to be really sad for the Coyotes here this year coming into this division. But I mean, as far as sleepers go, if I had to pick a couple, if I had to go one from each conference, right? I mean, the Rangers make sense. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a sleeper pick, but if you want to call it maybe a bold take, I'd probably say I think the Panthers go extremely deep in the playoffs this year. I think that's my take on it. I think they can win their division like they did this year prior, and then not get stuck with the shitty matchup of like the Lightning in the first round. I think they'll go deep in the playoffs. I think they'll go Eastern Conference Finals for sure. That's my hot take. And then let's see at the West. Hang on a second. Where was I at? So on the West. So mine, it's gonna sound interesting. Is I think that. I think the Kings might surprise a bit more, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to 2 things. You're going to need to get your new guy, what's his name? Wow, Quentin Byfield. You need to make sure he's healthy and producing. I think he's injured. He's out the first couple of weeks from a preseason injury, which sucks to see. But obviously they signed Philip Dano to that big deal. If Jonathan Quick can be somewhat close to where he was in the past, you probably have something there. Cal Peterson really wasn't terrible in his short stints either. And they just signed him to like a 3-year deal, like $5 million for the next 3 years after this season, after his rookie deal's up too. So he's probably going to start taking over games from Quick. But yeah, I could see them sneaking in. And honestly, in that West division, with just, you don't know really outside of Vegas, you kind of look up and down and you're like, maybe Vancouver, maybe Calgary or Edmonton. I guess maybe Vegas and Edmonton probably make the top 3. And then outside of that, I feel like the rest of the 6, I don't have much good to say about the rest of them, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a really interesting Pacific division. I feel like Vegas,
Seattle's a big question mark, obviously. Like nobody wants to like throw them under the bus, even though that draft, a lot of people wanted to, and their big saving grace was signing Grubauer, which I'm sorry, overhyped city. In my opinion, he was just on a team with arguably the best defense in the league.
I'm starting him tonight, so I'm hoping for a shutout.
You crazy bastard. Yeah, I have him in fantasy, and he is benched. And I don't even care. That is scary. That is super scary. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I can give my opinion on the Seattle Kraken. I think they're in an easy division as well. I think they're going to make playoffs. I do, and I think that the
NHL wants them to. They're not about it.
Yeah, I think they're going to make playoffs because I think that they're built a little bit better out the gate than the Knights were. Like, at least on paper, it seems that way. They're in an easy division. Tonight's going to be very interesting. But I don't think Grubauer is all that great. I think the Knights figured him out last year in the playoffs. But here's my hot take. Okay. I think the Canadians are going to be hot garbage, like absolute hot garbage. And here's why. Okay. Not even because I'm bitter about what happened last year. And I think we deserved a much better Stanley Cup final. I think Tampa and Vegas would have been one for the books for sure. But here's why. Okay. Pittsburgh Penguins won in 2017 against the Nashville Predators. Next year, Preds fall off the map, right? Washington Capitals, they win the cup against the Vegas Golden Knights. The following year, Knights are wiped out in the first round. Okay. 2019 Stanley Cup final is the Blues versus the Bruins. Blues win. Next year, the Bruins are just not the team at all, right? Tampa Bay Lightning, they win the Cup in 2020 against the Dallas Stars. They look like they shouldn't have even been in that final, right? Next year, they fall off. My prediction is that the Canadians are in the same exact boat as the Dallas Stars, and that they're about to have this year that is a big reality check. They got into the playoffs because of the division they were in. They only played Canadian teams. Carey Price got on fire at the right time. Then you got Cole Caulfield that is young and putting the puck in the fucking net, and Suzuki. I mean, it just seemed like right place, right time, and they have a lot more that they need to learn and a lot more not learning necessarily is development for these younger guys. So yeah, that's my biggest hot take. And that Grubauer, honestly, I don't think he's even going to be the starter for that team by the end of the season.
Ballsy take.
Yeah, I mean, well, you got Dreiger, right? Like, and he I mean, that was he did great. I mean, honestly, the fact that the Panthers had 3 insane goaltending situations like this, like they had anybody that could have taken over that net at any time. I think he's a great, solid tandem situation at bare minimum. I could see him taking over the job. That's my bold prediction overall. But yeah, what's the team that you think is just going to shit the bed? Like, who is somebody that maybe people are expecting to do well that might not do so well?
I don't know if it's an expectation that they're going to do well, but might think I think the Flyers, personally, I think they miss playoffs. I don't think they're going to necessarily completely shit the bed, but I don't know if that's saying much in that division that they're in. But when you have the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Capitals, the Islanders, the Hurricanes on top of that, as well as the Rangers who are up and coming with the Devils, but I don't think they do so hot this year. That's my take. I mean, they shipped out Gostisbehere. Obviously, Nolan Patrick is over there with the Knights, and they added a couple people, but I don't see much to be excited about, especially how hot they started and just fell off. I feel like that's going to carry over this year.
Yeah, you mentioned the Islanders, and it's hard for me to not think that they might fall off because, like, they've been grinding for so long, and they really haven't made any changes. I mean, there's still the same core of dudes minus Tavares from 3 years ago. So,
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that if the Islanders somehow fell off, I wouldn't be completely surprised.
The Islanders?
Yeah. I think they have the same group of people. They're not getting any younger. They're not making really any changes.
Barry Trotz and his defensive style, they're making playoffs. No doubt about it.
Making playoffs and actually doing the damn thing are two different things. It's like the argument came up for the Knights as well on this podcast. I can't remember which one I was listening to. It's like they were talking about, yeah, it's awesome to watch a team win. Like,
yeah, but
everybody wants them to win, but if you don't ultimately get that,
you got to consider though they lost Anders Lee to that unfortunate knee leg injury. He is back. You signed a couple of veterans, Paul Mary and Zajac. They did good. I mean, their captain was out. I mean,
yeah.
They got to consider that too.
Grinding, like, you think continuing the grind is actually going to like pay off?
Barzal's got another year under his belt. Anders Lee is healthy. You assume he's going to stay healthy. They have a good tandem between Varlamov and Sorokin, I believe.
Yeah, Sorokin.
Sorokin played really good in the short time that he had. It's probably going to be a 1A, 1B thing there at some point. And Barry Trotz, they have the defense they need there to play those tight 3-2, 2-1, low-scoring games, which is what you get in playoffs generally when you go deep and you got to win those games. So I don't see them going anywhere personally.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Go check out that Cam Jansen interview. We're going to be dropping an interview every week for the next month or so. We're going to try to do a new episode as well every week. So we're looking at a lot of content, probably 2 episodes a week. Make sure you follow us both on Twitter and Instagram. We'll include those. We have video now. We're going to be doing video.
Yeah.
So I can just put them like right here.
I forgot. I promised I'd change my handle here before the season started. I got to do that today and figure.
Okay, you got to do. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like I said, go back, follow us on YouTube. That's a big thing now. Like I said, we're going to be uploading videos, still doing the podcast via Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And how's that game going with the Pens? I feel like we should at least.
Pens are 0-0 after 1. Pens out shooting the Lightning 14-7.
Okay, cool. My prediction is. Okay, so I am not going to give a game prediction because I think that's bad luck. But I think Nolan Patrick is going to have a hell of a game. And he's on the 3rd line right now. So I think one of these guys, you got Krebs, Dadonov, Nolan Patrick. It's a completely different face as far as the team goes. And I predict a 2-point game for Nolan Patrick is my prediction for the game. And I think if the Penguins were able to hold it out this long, I think they win. I would, if I was a betting man, I'd say I'm going to go Penguins, and then I'm reserving my choice. What's your choice for the Kraken Knights? You can give it.
I say Kraken Knights. I'm not going to give a score. I say it goes to overtime. Kraken win an OT.
Oh my God. That would just kill all the morale right now. So I hope you're wrong. But yeah, so thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Cheers.
Later, guys.